Hey guys, I promised the other day that I'm gonna get back to you to clarify some things about why I don't side with people who say that right now these restrictions and these rules and limitations are coming from a small tiny group of psychopaths who are evil and who are basically here to infringe on your freedoms and basically violate your lives and yeah so okay, so I have a problem in general with a lot of people, and I'll tell you why. So many people are very hypocritical when it comes to health and well-being, and we could see that in the last a year and a half since this pandemic was announced. So many people are now so respectful, right? I mean, they think they're very respectful to other people because they immediately put their masks on. They immediately, started social distancing. They immediately started listening to all these restrictions and all these rules. And those of us who didn't just comply blindly, we were, the thorn in their heel, which is like really, really, it could not be more hypocritical than it was or than it is. It's like, you gotta be joking me, really. Most of these people, I mean, this is a disgrace. Most of these people that are such, virtue signalers, that signal virtue on at every step of their lives, a lot of them, okay, a lot of them do not give a flying crap about health. That's why you can observe them, how unhealthy their lives are, and how very, what kind of unhealthy choices they make. A lot of these people, listen, a lot of these people eat very unhealthy diet. A lot of these people smoke. And please don't get me started on all these, smoking is not that bad, the mainstream science is just, making a campaign against smoking, but people had been smoking since ever, and tribes were smoking back in the days, and everything was fine, people were not getting cancer and this and that, so smoking is really not such a problem. Look, listen, let's say even if smoking wasn't an actual problem for you, okay, even though it is, and you can pretend and beat around the bush as much as you want, smoking is a disgusting behavior, and it's a disgusting habit, an addiction, because it is not something you inject in your veins and, when it fucks you up alone, and maybe people that care for you or care about you, like your immediate family, your friends, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. No, it affects just about anybody that is around you, when you smoke. Let that be on a sidewalk, be that on a road when you're in a line of cars waiting at an intersection, or just driving behind somebody or in front of somebody, depending which way the wind is blowing, or where the smoke is being funneled to, in parks, on a beach. It's absolutely disgusting. I can never emphasize enough how disgusting it is, and how much cigarette smoke lingers. It is not something that just, it doesn't matter, it goes in the air and it's gone. It's not. It is totally not. It lingers in the air for a long time. And, or sometimes people smoke on their balconies, and their, neighbors upstairs or downstairs or next to them gotta smell that crap. They can't have their windows open because their neighbor is, disrespectful, inconsiderate person. and doesn't care about anybody else. That's what I'm saying. You know, all these habits that that basically violate other people's personal space are in fact addictions. So you are no different than a junkie that needs a quick fix, because you too need a quick fix, and your quick fix is a cigarette. You know, it's kind of funny when I see people on real heavy hard drugs, when they walking around yelling and you know rummaging through trash dumpsters and stuff like that, or somebody, listen to this, or somebody who's at their work but really needs that fix, so they go out to the street and they go to the corner of the street and they smoke, or somewhere on some stairs or somewhere by some bush or something. It's so stupid. You don't even see yourself how you are. You don't even see that. You're so delusional if you think you don't have a problem. You have a terrible problem. And guess what? You know, I'll stop here and I'll continue with people drink, and they say, well, you know, if you socially drink, I mean, Jesus drank wine, right? Come on, that's the most ridiculous argument you could ever have. Cool, yeah, you have a glass of wine. Why do you need something that is alcoholic? Why? What does it do to your body anyways? Why do you think it's good for you? You know, leave those religious stories away, okay? I mean, this is why I have a problem with everybody who's religious. Because they bring up all these stupid points that are in their books, and their books somehow always validate their poor choices, okay? You know, either it's, I don't know, meat eating, or it's this, or it's that, or it's killing this, or it's killing that, or it's like, you know, doing what they want to do, or it's like this selective mentality, you know, you pick what's good for you, what you want, what protects your poor choices and justifies them, and then you leave out the rest, you know. So and also I won't even go into how many nonsensical things are in those books that are, in my opinion, just, you know, deceptions, because they're lies and deceptions mixed in with the truth. So you really have to be careful when you're reading those religious scripts, that you have that discernment where you recognize, aha, this is truth, and this here next to it, it's an addition that invalidates a lot of other things that are truthful in those books. So you may not see that because you don't have the discernment. The way you get the discernment is to purify yourself. So you stay away from a lot of this crap, okay? I'm not saying that if you did it in the past, now you're forever marked and you will never be able to purify yourself, you will never be able to get that eye open, right? I'm not saying that. Look, we've all been doing we all been taking or making poor choices, you know, for a lot of our lives. I mean, for a lot of years of our lives, because simply we were brought up into this world, taught certain things that were total misconceptions, total lies, you know, based on you know, some scientific, you know, mainstream scientific research, and some, you know, school system that were brainwashing us into believing some really, like, you know, stupid things that are like so far away from the truth, okay? You also have to ask yourself another thing. Let's say I'm gonna go to smokers. You know, you smoke. I want to ask you why you want so badly to smoke your lungs. What is it about that habit that you have to inhale something that initially was not even, I mean, your lungs were not even designed to have that in them. I mean, your lungs are you know, their optimal functioning is when they receive pure oxygen. Oxygen is pure as it can be. That's why you see, you know, our lives are so unhealthy. Our fruits and vegetables don't grow as much anymore. We, as these bodies, don't grow as much anymore. We are not as strong as, you know, sometimes people used to be, when there were more, where the percentage of oxygen and toxicity in the air was extremely, you know, percentage of oxygen was high and toxicity in the air was extremely low, if there were any at all. You see what I mean? So that's why, you know, when you talk about giants, It's not about some evil agenda. Simply things were bigger because they had a bigger supply of oxygen and less toxic matter in the air, less toxic or no toxic particulates in the air. So of course, I mean, given the optimal conditions, given these really amazing conditions for your growth, what do you think it will happen? I mean, you will grow, you will be strong, your cells will regenerate at a much higher and faster pace. So, you know, let's go on smoking, drinking, taking other drugs, you see? So don't say, oh, you know, I'm not taking drugs, but you smoke and you drink. You drink socially, you smoke socially, same shit. It's no difference. So don't deceive yourself. Don't delude yourself. Oh, well, it's different because I don't. Yeah, okay, whatever. Going to bars, all right? What the hell do you have to do in bars? Why are you going to bars for? Restaurants, conditionally, I can agree that maybe restaurants are out there, but what for? You can't cook? You know, I get it. It's nice to go out. You know, sometimes my wife and I used to go to a restaurant. We like certain vegan places. They closed down, unfortunately, in the pandemic. That were had gourmet vegan food, which is quite hard to make at home, but it's not impossible at all. You know, but since they were there, we decided to support them and go out there. It was a nice vibe. People seem to be very nice in there. It was like you could feel the, I don't know, just people being more gentle. It was, you know, regardless of what people want to claim, but I'll tell you that a lot of vegan places I go to, they have a different vibe. People are nicer to each other, and you know, for some reason, yeah, okay, I'm sure there's a dickhead here and there, you know, in those places too. But in general, I'm speaking in general, there is a very nice vibe. Nobody seems to be violent or aggressive or, you know, passive aggressive and stupid shit like that when you encounter when you go to restaurants, and, you know, people sometimes snap at you for no reason. It's like, and I'm not, you know, we're not gonna connect this further into like, oh, it's meat eating, and, you know, these guys, you know, BS in here is talking nonsense and stuff. You know, you gotta figure out this stuff. You gotta figure out this stuff for yourself, why certain things are a certain way. Okay, so, like, go on. Restaurants, bars, most of the time, a lot of the time, is people are hanging out and just yapping their asses off about same old shit over and over and over again. Eating out just because they can. Not thinking of how much waste we produce that way. You know, just it's wasteful, and a lot of times it's just, what do you have so much to talk about that you hang out with your buddies all the time, with your friends all the time in these stupid bars, this loud music is played, people smoke, people drink, they're loud, they're obnoxious. I mean, what kind of nice behavior can you learn from those places? What can you, I mean, what is so productive about that? You know? And then people used to say, oh, it's so bad that there's no more concerts, you know, they destroyed the concerts and musicians. So what? Who cares? I mean, like, look, most of the concerts, people were going there to get drunk. They were, you know, cussing left and right, talking shit, you know, just disgusting habits, you know, disgusting behavior. And I'm not here to be a moralist, far from that. I'm just observing on a scale of, like, if you're a human being and you do these things, how do you consider yourself worthy of yourself? I'm serious. How do you consider yourself worthy of yourself? And then think about it, if there's a group of so-called parasites, right? Which that psychopathic small evil group is supposed to be, right? Now, why the fuck would they care about you? Huh? You tell me. Why on earth would they care about you if they're parasites? You know, you're decreasing your value in their eyes, and you are fair game. You are fair game for their consumption of that low frequency, food. And since you're giving so much of that out by adapting these habits and living life so, I would say, so destructively, because that's not constructive. Smoking, drinking, hanging out, talking nonsense, not being productive by wasting your time somewhere in a bar, being loud, obnoxious, disturbing the community where the bar is. I would shut all this stuff down, everything. And I will be so happy when when we go into another lockdown and everything is shut down. For one, I'm so sick and tired of people coming to these communities. I live in one of those communities where people come park everywhere in the streets. They're obnoxious. They yell in the middle of the night when they're coming out of bars and going to the bars. The whole block has to listen to them. They play loud music, running up and down with cars, revving engines, and bullshit like that. Smoking, drinking on the streets, in the bars. It's just, what is that? What on earth is that? We used to do some of it, okay, when I was younger. Now, we had some excuse, but still not enough of excuse, because we had libraries. We didn't have so many computers. We didn't have all these, places where we could learn about better behaviors. And sometimes, parents taught us what they were taught, which was the same old crap from years ago. Now the youngsters and people in general don't have that much excuses. Don't have those many excuses anymore. Because now you have this tablet of information on your hand, at your disposal at all times. Which means you can research things better, which means you can develop better habits, which means you can find out about, things that you do, things that you want to do. Are they good for you? Are they not? You can, you don't have to go by the mainstream media, what's on TV. You can now compare things from people. You can talk to people. It's much, much easier, to get all sorts of information. So now that you have all this information, especially young people, they don't have the same excuses. They can't say, well, I didn't know, like we were young and crazy. It's not, I know it's maybe unfair from me being in this position, because we did some of these nonsensical behaviors. We were adopting them or adapting to them, and embodying that. But listen, life goes on. Life, technologies are here to improve life. Technologies are here to improve also the ethics and help with morals of life. And unfortunately, that life becomes more demanding, because more information you have, less ignorant you can be. Less ignorant you can be. Less you can. There's less opportunity for you to say, "Well, I didn't know." You should have known. Information is right here. You can't say I didn't know. Now, maybe back in the days you could say certain things I didn't know because we were bombarded only by the TV. Rarely anybody had a computer when I was in my 20s. My 20s already, but when I was 10, 15, rarely anybody had a computer. And when you did have a computer, internet was, it was not the same. We didn't have all these platforms like YouTube, and now even some of the independent forums and independent platforms where people can talk about all sorts of stuff and reveal all sorts of information. You didn't have that. So now, since you have that, you have to become more responsible. Otherwise, you're wiped out. That's it. We can't keep living this life on a hamster wheel and do everything the same old way, because same old way doesn't work. So it's you're just gonna have to get with it, and you no longer have time. It's like, save yourself right now. That's it. Stop with these habits and stop seeing these as this is some evil psychopaths that want to hurt you. Their job is to cut all this stuff out, and it's over. And there's no mercy in it, and that's just how it should be.